Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining me today on the Crafty Raven, and very, very glad to have you guys here. We're going to get into a topic today that I know a lot of my followers, especially if you're into the tarot, if you know various astrology, things like that. We're going to get into the topic of magic and what magic is and what that definition actually is. Now, see, there's a lot of misconceptions. There's a lot of deceivement around the term, but basically, if you take like Crowley's definition of magic, that is causing change to happen in accordance with one's will. Well, in that definition of that, you can take that as simple as, I want to take one of these stones and move it from this hand to this hand. And so I've done that, and is that magic? According to that definition, yes. And so what you have to understand is everyone is doing this all the time. Take spells, for instance. Take the English word spelling, okay? When you write on a piece of paper, on a piece of parchment, you are spelling, okay? You are, in essence, creating a spell. It's information, which gets back to the 7 Hermetic principles, which we will go over. And like I said, this video is very generalized outline of things that I'm going to be talking about as I progress on the Crafty Raven channel. Okay, so the 7 Hermetic principles. This is the Book of Thoth, the Emerald Tablets. Also known, the Book of Thoth, aka the Emerald Tablets, aka the Law of Attraction, so on and so on. The first law being the all, which you could take that into context and say the all, which is everything ever known in existence, beyond our scope of perception and outward. Also, the all is the all. It is essentially the divine spark, the creator, the force that is inside that keeps your heart beating. The force that is the all. And this is mind. The all is mental. And I'm gonna prove this to you very easily by saying this. Here on Midgard, the Earth, that's another, aka the Earth, Midgard, the mid realm, in our, okay, this is, before you do something, before I take this stone and I place it in this hand, I had to have the thought first, and then even so built on that to bring it into fire, my imagination. I had to have the mental sight or vision to do that first before I actually done the action. So say you wanted to get up and go get something to drink. Before you done that, you actually had to have that thought that occurred that was built on the air mixed with your fire, causing imagination, and then with your water, emotion gathered unto that to cause this the desire of getting that drink. And then so all those things that actually happened before the act that we see down here of you getting up to go get that drink, you actually, all those things played out in the ether realm, the aether. Okay, so therefore everything is mental. Nothing, anything that was and has and is and ever was invented had to be thought of first. So I hope that makes sense as we continue on and we get farther into this. And you guys, like I said, this will get easier for me to go over. I had to define some type of starting point when talking about all these things, and hopefully you will bear with me because it's going to get really good. The spiritual nature of oneself is yourself, period. And your internal condition, okay, let me say it like this. Your external conditions are a reflection of your internal conditions. I mean, whatever you project, you receive back. And here's how we're going to define this. As I stated first, the law of mentality. Everything is mental. Universe is mental. Okay, so this is the first of the Hermetic principles. And this more or less means that on this grand scale, if you wanted to look at, and that's another thing that we're going to get into, is perception. Always be expanding your perception, because what one person sees something as, with an expanded perception, it can be something totally different. So you have to understand that your views, your indoctrinations, the things that you have been programmed to receive and still do, all of the advertising, the sigils, the logos, everything, all of humanity is living in a spellbound state. Like I said before, the spelling, take that word, you spell something, okay? When you spell something, you are writing, acting in a rite, okay? A ceremonial rite, okay? You're writing, you are spelling, and what I'm trying to get across here is that everybody's practicing magic all the time, whether they know it or not. Now, however you perceive that definition to be of magic, it is entirely based upon your limits of perception. Okay, so someone that's very much indoctrinated by some sort of religion, be it, we will get into the religion as we continue on, because there are a lot of truths in religion, but there are also a lot of deceptions, a lot of misconceptions, a lot of mistranslations, stuff getting lost, because people have a very acute ability to hone in on something and accept it as fact first and foremost. And if they have others, if they have other entities, spirits, and by the way, when I talk about spirits or entities, I'm going to be talking directly about when you think about a ghost, or when you think about what your soul is, besides the human body, okay? It is energies. These are energies, planetary spheres. The earth itself is alive, and it is an energy. We now, incarnated here on the earth, are of the earth in one fashion. The other planets in our solar system, as they say, they do not have no life on them. That is entirely ridiculous. It's stupid. Okay, the energies that are there, just because we can't see, just because our limited perception or your programmed perception of keeping you asleep to understand what it is that I'm talking about, these planetary spheres, these Olympian spirits, these massive energies are beings. They're alive. Everything is alive. Everything is moving all the time. And people look at me and they think, well, what about like a rock? A rock don't move. If you look at a rock at a microscopic level, you will see, I don't know, millions, trillions of tiny vibrations. Everything in this realm is made up of tiny vibrations or large vibrations. Energy frequency, what was it, the Tesla? I'm trying to think of the three. But anyway, it's that. If somebody wants to go ahead and pin that or put that in the comments and tell me, because it's like I'm really trying to get out a focused lesson that I can go over in this first episode of just basic. What is magic? What is this term? What am I talking about when we are talking about magic? Because it's like you have to understand that this isn't fairy tale stuff, but you also have to have the perception that's elevated high enough to understand that, okay, this is very practical. Like, these things are very practical that I'm talking about, but as the deeper that you go down the rabbit hole, you'll start to see that, okay, if you look at us as being human beings made up in three major parts, okay, the mind, the body, the soul, the body being of the earth, the mind being of the aether, and the soul, well, the mind actually being of the air or of the other elements. And this also goes hand in hand with your own astrology chart. I am a Capricorn. It's what most people that don't know very much about astrology would say. But if you look at your whole astrology chart and somebody that knows more about astrology, I would say I'm a Capricorn sun, I'm an Aquarius rising, and I am a Leo moon. What does this mean? It means that the sun was in the sign of Capricorn, being the gate which my solar plexus, my solar, that's the chakra, your solar plexus, my chemical makeup, my DNA, or my soul level DNA, that is combined in thrice part with mind, body, spirit. All right, so, or mind, body, soul, either one you want to say. But understand that everything that I am describing right now are just energies. The energy of the human body, flesh, is made up in a way to where it looks as we perceive it. We have the tools to perceive it. But understand that you are in a spacesuit, more or less. It is. You have eyes. You have all the senses that your perception is aware of. They say that there's 5 senses. You actually have 7. We'll get more into that as time continues. And there's so much out there in the aether realm. Now, I'm not talking about the air. I'm talking about what in the Christianity version of the Bible, what it's referred to as being the firmament. Okay, this is the grid. Now start to picture this in the way of Neo and the Matrix, because once you wake up and you understand what it is that I'm trying to say, then you will understand that the Matrix is a very real thing. Like, it's a very real, like the whole movie, the concept of it is a very simple way to reference and explain both what it is that is actually really going on, but it's all in the terms, in the sense of metaphor, because our limited human perception cannot understand things in the way that we can when we're out of this body, when we are back in our home. As for instance, my home star, I am from Orion. My home star being Polus, and like, this is information that once you start diving into your birth chart, and see, I'm coming back around to what I was talking about with me being a Capricorn sun sign. I explained that my moon, my water, my emotion come and was formed in the gate of Leo and come through the gate Leo moon. Okay, so and I'm gonna state, like, logically, somebody that don't really understand what I'm following, if you can't really get my gist so far, we're talking about the place where the sun was at when I was born was in the gate of Capricorn. The place where the moon was at when I was born was in the gate of Leo. Now, Aquarius rising. This was the sign, the gate. I refer to the zodiac, there's 12 gates in the sky. I refer to them as gates. Okay, so understand when I'm saying gate, that's what I'm talking about. These are constellations, these are places, these are portals, you could say. Entryways, exit ways, which now, well, we're not going to get into the quarantine that's in the solar, that's being imposed on the solar system right now, but still, Aquarius rising, this was the sign or the gate that was coming up in the east at the moment of my birth. Now, to calculate this, you have to have your birth time. So, magic involves a great deal of astrology, because you have to know what the greater planetary, the heavenly energies are playing out like at this time. Like, do you know where the moon is at today as you're watching this video? Do you know what phase it is in? Is it waxing? Is it waning? AKA, is it growing? Or is it disgrow? You guys will have to forgive me about my words right now, because I am very close to finding my voice. And for those of you that are advanced in occult, which that word just means hidden, the occult teachings, you'll understand exactly what I'm trying to say. But I'm going to lay down some general information so that it may help you. And as I continue on talking about all the things that I'm going to talk about in these videos at the Crafty Raven channel, don't forget to hit that like, subscribe button. I need to get more subscribers, and you guys are my people, so do it right now. Boom, hit it. We'll talk about all kinds of stuff, and I think you guys are going to really, really enjoy it. So think about, just for instance, 7 days of the week. Everybody's very familiar with 7 days a week. You have Monday, which is Moon Day. Tuesday is the day of Mars. Wednesday is the day of Mercury. Thursday is the day of Jupiter. Friday is the day of Venus. Saturday, Saturn. Sunday, the Sun. Okay, so now, no matter what kind of logic you have that is compelling you or reverting back to old programs that are keeping you in some kind of state of fear. As I was trying to say earlier about Midgard, the energies here are supposed to be balanced. You could look at it in a way of good and evil. Okay? But you have to understand that words are... No, okay. You have to understand that good and evil are just another basic way of describing two fears which rule and law the scales over this plane that we sit in, the earth. And one is fear energy and one is love energy. Now, mass programming, thanks to all the implemented logos and sigils of, just like the cross. This cross here, there, there's two skulls on the sides of this. Every bit of this is an image, imagination, fire. Okay, what I was talking about earlier, when you actually get to the point of creating something, it becomes fire in the ether realm. It becomes in the higher planes. It happens there first, and this 3D, this earthly dimension, is a trickling down of that state that happens there first. Before you do something, you have to have the thought to do it. Okay, you have to have an imagination of what it is that you're going to do. You picture that in your mind, and then you do that. This cross, this image, which, reverting back to religion, especially in Christianity, I'll revert to Christianity a lot because I know quite a bit about Christianity. And this being an image, but there's so many Christians out there that, being in the Ten Commandments, thou shalt not take any graven image. Graven means etched. It's in imagination. Now we're starting to form the basic rules and concepts of magic, okay? Because when you create a graven image inside your mind, in the upper realms, in the ether, the other dimensions of who you are, in the fabric of your soul, you are creating this thing. So this image of the cross, sacrifice, in every way that it is stapled, it is an image of sacrifice. So to have this cross around you, to have this image, or behold it, or focus on it with your intent, because now we're getting into some more of the staples of magic and just how simple and simplistic this is. Because when you have an intention or a focus, it's one thing to have an intention. How long can you focus on that? How long can you yourself keep all of your faculties, mind, body, spirit, your emotions, yourself, every part of yourself? How much of the time do you have complete control of every part of yourself? Do you? Or is something else possessing that? Because possession happens all the time. It's so crazy that it's ridiculous. And there's so many of the establishments that really, like the information that I'm getting into, it is in so much of a form freedom. You set yourself free because what you understand without getting into religion and being programmed by these things, which have been twisted to implement control in so many ways, shapes, and forms over the years by who knows who. When you actually start to pick out the truths and understand those from within, then you can start to see the reason why Jesus spoke in parables, aka metaphor. Because this is likened unto this. This is the only way to describe this. It's the only way to describe a certain, like the waxing and waning of the moon, the increase of the moon, coming into full prowess, and then the decession, the decreasing of the moon, coming back into new again, and starting the cycle over. Because just as the days of the week, just as the 12 months, the 12 gates in the sky, they all, this season, it's a procession, it's a seasonal thing. The first will be last, last will be first. Okay, so you have all these things that are in procession, succession. I don't know which one's procession. I don't know. You guys don't want to say it's cyclical. It's cyclical. It's going round, round and round. Love will find a way, just give it time. Like, okay, so, like, you have all of these faculties available to you at all times. But for the most part, 90% of the population lets some other energy control and use everything of them. Now let's break this down into one of the easiest forms of understanding. Let's take having to dealing with a partner, or dealing with coming into union with someone else. Taking Christianity, for example, when it talks about putting spirit first. People have to learn how to put spirit, aka your higher self, aka the divine spark, aka the divine creator, first. Your essence, okay, your core essence. Now, when coming into some type of union with some type of partner, what usually ends up happening is that you give all of your, or most of your power, most of your intention, most of your focus unto that. And what usually ends up happening is you befall in some type of fear state, some type of fear mentality. And when I'm talking about fear and love, remember the both of these on both sides of the scales, fear and love. Okay, so fear is lack. Fear is doubt. Love is faith. Love is giving. Fear is taking. Okay, now are you starting to understand kind of the putting in these in two basic forms? We can kind of staple all the rest of these words, which they're words, they're spells, to gather more imagination. Because when you spell out the word lack of da 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 da, say for instance, lack of money. You have money on your mind all the time because you are programmed to be in some type of fear state of not having enough. So when that comes and when that plays out in every shape, way, and form, your mind adds more imagination, more your mind, not your spirit, not your soul. Notice I say your mind. Your mind is a valuable tool when it is used in the correct manner. But what is the sad thing, and what it happens in most cases, I'll say 90% of the pit. Now, these are not accurate figures. This is just what I'm going on based on the motherfuckers I've seen in my life. So you got to see that for the most part, everyone is running around here with their minds running wild like rabid dogs, or like a wild car out of control with no driver in it. And it's just full blast, idling, totally crazy. You know, I gotta turn my moon back on, guys. Damn it. Cocks, dude. You know. There it goes. Okay, so, alright, so people are running around here with their minds on idle, with their minds on autopilot. Now, their spirit still yearns for some type of knowledge, some type of direction. So they go into these looking for outside stimuli, union, looking for the thing that's going to complete them, not understanding that they're already complete. Now, just I was talking about Christianity and putting spirit first, the ark, putting the all first, putting, you know, I'm not saying yourself, I'm saying your higher self, your divine essence of the all. Man is made in God's image. You are in the image of God. Image, imagination, these are terms to describe a holographic veil and tunnel connecting you directly to the Almighty. To put spirit first, you cannot have a spouse and put them first. How many people go to church every Wednesday, Sunday, Monday, whatever, and then as they're sitting in that pew, in their subconscious mind, they have more thoughts of money, of their spouse, of whatever they put before spirit. This love and fear, love and fear, love is receiving, giving, taking care of, faith. Fear is hatred, greed, jealousy, envy, confusion. Love is knowing, understanding. The Bible, Hosea. I'm pretty sure the verse is Hosea 6:6. My people are destroyed for lack of understanding. And that is very true, because so much is made nowadays, especially with all of the magic of technology being all around us, which, by the way, real magic was a lot like the analog, this done this and this done this, and the digital came in, and then it was just, we'll get into that later on. Divine union can only happen when both parties are putting spirit first in the utmost sense and degree. This is what you would consider to be a twin flame union. Now, here's the thing. Twin flames run from each other because it's part of the process, especially coming here, incarnate in a flesh body. They have to reach a pinnacle point before union can commence. So understand that if you still have subconscious fears going on in your mind about anything, that those are things that your guides, your angels, your ancestors, the heavenly energies are guiding you through so that you can grow, because here on Gaia, here on Mother Earth, that is our purpose, to grow, to excel, okay, to learn, to understand how to implement faith, okay, to understand how to use magic to its full potential. Because everything that I'm talking about is very real. And all these things, just as the days of the week, even down to the planetary movements and their effects on you, all the things that those planets govern in the system, in the whole scheme of even the Galactic Federation of Light. There's so many things that we're going to get into on this channel. Crystals, we're going to get into animals. We're getting into some animals. And oils. Because once you start to open your perception, you start to understand that you are made of these specific pieces And these oversouls, these planetary energies, these planetary oversouls, that's the only way I can describe them. You say angels, like as a hierarchy or a governmental system that ranks down from the Almighty, you could say the divine creator. We're saying seraphim, cherubim, thrones. These are denominations. Now, cherubim, thrones, principalities, powers, archangels. I can't remember the exact order, but I'm going to open up my Pinterest on here in the next video and start going through some things more in detail. And like I was talking earlier about the law of mentalism and everything being mental, this third dimensional realm that we stand in is just a trickling down. It's heavier, okay? It's when you incarnate here, like that's why it's we pick up these bodies and they're you know it's a task to lug them around and stuff. Like in the upper dimensions, it's not like that, okay? Like this place sucks right now. I'm just saying, it really does. Like it sucks, but that's why I'm here doing this. What I'm doing. I'm going to end this video, and I'm going to start with a new one. And you know, I think that the best task of action is just to cover step by step the Hermetic principles. Like I said, this one right here was the first of 7. There's 7 Hermetic principles. The Book of Thoth, the Emerald Tablets, aka the Law of Attraction. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about taking it out and chopping it up. We're talking about taking it out and mixing it and doing it good. Everything's great, okay? So as you can tell, like this is a lot that I have to process to start to get this information out there. The next video that I may go and delve into fate and the certain paths that you must hit as you go throughout your life and you live in free will. It forks out like a tree, and you can take this road or that road or this road, but there are certain pointed fates that you must hit that interweave back around into a fated point, which you would then have the free will to. And that goes into soul contracts, things of that nature. Okay, so do me a favor, you guys. If you're watching this video and you've watched it so far and you like what you've heard, leave me some comments and let me know what you would like for me to talk about, because that may help me in getting this in some type of order, so I can explain all the different things, because I'm going to go into demonology. I'm going to go into, like I said, astrology, of course, the tarot, of course, physics, of course, conjuration, which is, I mean, it's CERN. We're going to go into CERN. We're going to go into all kinds of different stuff. So if you guys want to leave me some comments and tell me, hey, you know, I would really like to hear about this, and I'll be like, all right, that sounds awesome. I'll make a video about that next, and we'll just do it, and we'll jump right into it, and everything will be cool. Colors, you know, like not only the cross being a symbol, like what colors do you have around your house that's drawing certain energies into your home? What kind of stuff you got going on that you're into, or that you may be like that's plaguing your subconscious mind that is a program that you cannot shift out of. We're going to get into all kinds of stuff, guys. So if you've liked this video, remember, like it. Go hit the button and hit the subscribe button too. Hit the subscribe button. And if you guys want to, if you want an astrology chart, I don't think there's anyone out there that can do one quite like I can. I'm sure everybody's talented in their own ways. Anyway, email me, and you guys have a great day. Have a great year. You know, it's 2020. We're coming right out of Saturn, Pluto. Phoenix rising from the ashes. That's what's up. So, you guys, I'll be back on here. I'll be back on here just all the time, and yeah.